All right, we are continuing our study of the Christian life, and we're asking the question, how do we stay faithful to the end? First time we looked at physics. Second time we looked at farming. And today I want to look at dying. Now, I'm not talking about dying as it pertains to our funeral. I'm talking about dying as it pertains to our daily death, our daily dying to ourselves. As Christians, we know the Bible teaches that we are to die to self. And I want to explain that more today. I came across a quote that I thought was interesting, and it says this. Here's the quote. It says, "Many want the glory without the cross, the shining without the burning, but then here's the proposition, crucifixion comes before coronation." So many want the glory without the cross. What does that mean, the glory without the cross? I think here's what it means. It means this. We want the prize without the pain. We want the product without the process. We want the fruit without the planting, and or the tending or the maintaining. And I'm as guilty as anyone. That I would rather have the outcome without all the necessary steps to get there. I wish I could just snap my fingers and download maturity. Snap my fingers and download love and kindness and all those things that I long for as a Christian. I wish I could just snap my fingers, but the reality is, the Bible doesn't work, or the Christian life doesn't work that way. The Bible teaches us that we have to die to ourselves. But there's a second part to this verse. It says, we want the shining without the burning. Now, what does that mean, the shining? That is when a material is representing itself to its fullest. In other words, the dross has been taken away, and the product now is at its highest quality. And it's being presented as though it's at its finest point. But to get there, it took burning. It took heating. And that's the process of dying, is heating up those things in my life that are unnecessarily distracting me from that which is most important. That is what is most aligned to God, His Word, and His desires. And then finally it says this, crucifixion comes before coronation. What does that mean, crucifixion? Well, that word would not even be mentioned in the Roman world. No citizen of Rome would be killed or executed on a Roman cross, only those who are the deplorables. And what we see in our Lord is that He actually took that form of execution and was then cursed, according to Galatians 3, so that we might have life. So at the end of Christ's life, His death was a crucifixion, and then He was coronated as king. He's seated now at the right hand of God in power on high, mediating on our behalf. But that also is applicable to us as Christians today. What does it mean to have cost before glory, or a cross before glory, burning before shining, crucifixion before coronation? To answer that question, we're going to look at briefly Matthew 16 verses 21 to 23, and I'll just discuss it. In Matthew chapter 16 verses 21 to 23, we learn something very interesting about our Lord. And it's fascinating when you think about what He's telling His disciples. He's telling them, I'm going to Jerusalem and I'm going to die. And my death is going to be unexpected from your perspective. This isn't being said, I'm just paraphrasing into it. The death is going to be unexpected because immediately we see that it is unexpected by Peter when he says in verse 22, this will never happen. He said, God forbid. He told Christ, God forbid. It's an unexpected outcome that Peter had in his mind. He was flipping it. He didn't understand it. And then the Lord said to Peter, get behind me, Satan. So in the garden, you have Adam, the first Adam, who was deceived by the serpent. Eve was there with him, deceived by the serpent. Adam coming in, also buying into that deception, taking the fruit, dying in that moment. Obviously, it was a process of dying. But at that moment now, we have the beginning of sin and the beginning of death. And so Christ says, I'm going to come in to this world, and in Jerusalem, I'm going to die. And Peter says, no, God forbid. God forbid, that's not going to happen. And then Christ says to Peter, Satan, get behind me. The second Adam overcame the second temptation and said, get behind me. And he said, because your mind, Peter, is set on not God's interest, but man's. You have focused on the temporal, the horizontal, the earthly interest of mankind, not in the interest of God. What Peter didn't know, y'all, and this is amazing, was that it was death that was going to bring life. It was taking Christ's death in order to bring life for us. And so then Christ says in verse 24, he says, if anyone wants to follow me, or if anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross. So what is Christ saying? He's saying this: if you want to live a life that is in alignment with my life, you have to learn the process of dying. That's hard. You and I have to learn the process of dying. What does that mean? It means that my interests that are not in alignment with God's must face a cross, must face a burning, and must face the crucifixion. What is it today? What are you holding on to? What are you so ambitious for? Give it to the Lord, daily dying for Him.